Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is getting a brand new build-your-own lightsaber experience coming to Disneyland in the Walt Disney Studios Parks in Orlando, Florida. New details just came out from Star Wars Celebration this last week, detailing all of that. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dano channel. I am Dano, and today we are going to be taking a look at all of the new information that came out regarding the build-your-own lightsabers from Savi's workshop in Galaxy's Edge. Now, Galaxy's Edge opens this summer, May 31st at Disneyland. I believe it's August 29th in Disney World. The reason I know Disneyland but not Disney World is because I have a room booked for the Disneyland opening. It's not far. It's about 4 hours away from where I live. So I will be driving down May 31st. June 1st I will be there, trying my best or whatever I got to do to get in to Galaxy's Edge, because I want to build these lightsabers. You guys know this, unless you're new to my channel, and if you're new to the channel, just so you know, I'm the build your own lightsaber guy. That is what I do. You can see I've got Star Wars Episode 1 Micro Machines behind me. I also review Micro Machines. A little bit of Jurassic World stuff too. So I like to mix it up. So if you're new here, you don't know me or my channel, just a quick little overview. I'm the Star Wars guy. And Disney parks. This is like my heaven. So hit the subscribe, do the notification thing if you're new. Just do yourself a favor, all right? So this is the first picture we were given. This shows up about a month ago, early March, I think maybe even late February. There was a press event where Disney put this out. They said Savi's workshop has hand-built lightsabers. Each build will begin with a personal connection to a Kyber crystal used to ignite the custom lightsaber. So we've seen this, and they look cool and they look metal. And according to some of the people that got to handle them during Star Wars Celebration, they are metal. I heard someone snap a piece in and it sounded a little plasticky to me, but again, some of the reports that I'm getting from Star Wars Celebration, I was not there, I did not get to touch these, but I'm being told that they are metal lightsabers, not plastic toys like we're used to. Alright, so the second picture we've got here, this is like an overview. This is actually two different shops' merchandise that we're looking at. On the top, it says Legacy Lightsabers, and you can see there's a bunch of different lightsabers that are showing up there, in these little gray cases with emblems on them next to them. Those emblems signify which Jedi, or whoever's lightsaber that is a replica of. And those Legacy Lightsabers are metal, high-quality replica lightsabers. So they've got Ahsoka Tano, Luke. I don't see Dooku, but I did see Luke. I saw Darth Maul. I saw Vader. There's even a yellow Jedi Temple Guard. Yeah, it looks awesome. So yellow lightsabers are confirmed. One thing we know about this system is that they will both use the same blade. The Legacy lightsabers will use the same blade as the build-your-own lightsabers, or the hand-built is what we're going to call them. Savi's hand-built lightsabers. They'll use the same blade, so it's a blade that you can attach, so you don't have to have it in. I'm just so excited about this. All right, so there's going to be a difference. If you're probably wondering one thing right now, what are the price? What's the price going to be? They haven't confirmed pricing on the hand-built lightsabers yet. They just haven't given it out. A lot of people at Star Wars Celebration asked, and nobody got a direct price. During the press event back in late February, early March, they did give a pricing of $109 per blade, and that was referring to these Legacy lightsabers that we've got on the screen right now. It was $109 for not the blade, but the actual hilt, the Legacy hilt. And it was $49, I believe, or $59, $49 or $59 for the blade. Now, that blade can be used in any hilt. It can be used in the custom ones. It can be used in the Legacy ones. And it's cool because it's coated. This one white blade will turn whatever color you want, even white. White is an option. So they have Ahsoka Tano, which has two smaller lightsabers. It's the same size blade, so I don't know how that's going to work, but it does turn white. So we've got white, we've got yellow lightsabers. This is cool stuff, man. This is really, really cool stuff. So one thing we see on the top where it says Legacy Lightsabers, there are these cases. So if you're walking around Galaxy's Edge, instead of having to carry around this big plastic white blade everywhere, which is kind of obnoxious, they have this wearable case. And if you look right there on the screen, it actually says Force Wielder, which is kind of cool. It translates to, you have to turn it sideways, but it translates to saying Force Wielder on the outside of that case. So you can be like rolling out like a samurai with like a case for your samurai sword. It's a cool look, and it's a neat way for them to so you're walking around, you don't have like a Disney bag, you've got this like sweet case for your blade. I think it's just a cool idea. I love it. The other thing that I heard is the ride vehicle. I can't confirm this for Millennium Falcon, but I was told by an insider that the ride vehicle for Rise of the Resistance will have lightsaber blade storage. So if you're waiting a billion hours to ride that ride, attraction, as Disney people call it, they're attractions, not rides. But if you're in that attraction, there's a place to store your lightsaber blade, your big old lightsaber blade, probably 40, 50 inches, I don't know. But they thought of that, so that's genius. All right, so the next image that I've got here to look at, this is where this all starts. These are the Kyber crystals. So I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they start you out, this is what I was told, start you out by picking a Kyber crystal. You can see on the screen here there are purple, green, blue, and white, which is really awesome. I'm also seeing an actual yellow crystal. Oh, there is a yellow. If you look in the corner on the image there is yellow. Yellow blades confirmed. Not just with the Jedi Temple Guard, but you can make your own yellow saber, which is really new and really cool because we haven't seen that on a custom build your own lightsaber out of Disneyland yet. You'll notice on the packaging it does say Kyber crystal. There is some other stuff. Looks like an Arabesh maybe. Of course, there's a parental warning that it's got small parts. But if we look at these crystals, they seem to have different sizes. And it looks like there might be some kind of electronics or something in there. Can't really tell. But one thing to note, you might be like, hey, where's the red ones? Don't worry. They do have red ones. Here are the Kyber crystals. These are the Sith Kyber crystals. Now, I'm going to go back to the image of the multicolored ones. Actually, for both of these, there's something that we'll go into later. There are these Holocrons that you can buy at the other store. One thing I didn't mention earlier when I saw Legacy Sabers and the Savi's Workshop, those are two different shops. Savi's Workshop is a 15-minute experience that I'm assuming you have to book and probably pay for in advance because it's only limited to like 14 or 15 stations. So that's how many people can do it at once, and it's going to take about 15 minutes. So if you do the math on that, 15 people every 15 minutes, the park's only open so long during the day. It's going to be a very limited experience, and I'm guessing in order to make sure there's no flakes, they're probably going to have you pay for it and book it for like a later time. So you have to come back. That's my guess. It hasn't been confirmed, but logically, that's the only thing that makes sense. So part of this experience that you're doing is you start off by getting your Kyber crystal. You pick your color, and that's going to be your crystal. And again, these crystals can be used on another feature that you can find at Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, which is where you can find all the legacy lightsabers, Sith statues, Jedi artifacts, all kinds of other stuff we'll look at maybe in a little bit, maybe in another video. But for now, we're focusing on Savi's Workshop. Once you've picked your color, then they move you, like in your little station that you're at, your little pod, they bring you, actually they give you a choice. They give you another choice. This is the interesting thing. They ask you a question. They say, which kind of Jedi or which kind of lightsaber do you want? What kind of Jedi are you? And this determines what your lightsaber is going to look like. So there's power and control, which is more like Sith-style pieces. There's going to be peace and justice, which is more like Jedi, traditional Jedi-style lightsabers. There's elemental nature, which is going to be more natural. And then there's protection and defense, which they didn't really say, but we're going to go through these and look at them. So once you pick, they're going to bring you this tray. Now, the tray on the screen right now, this is the Sith power and control pieces. Now, of those pieces, you're not going to use all of them. Notice there's a hilt on the left side. In the center, we can see that there's a spot where you would put your crystal. So you're going to take your, that's why the crystal's first. You're going to take your crystal, you're going to place it inside before you customize. But this is an interesting part. For me specifically, as someone who's gone to Disney parks, and I have built pretty much every combination of lightsaber that you can build at the Build Your Own Lightsaber Station, this means that when you pay for this experience at Galaxy's Edge, you don't get all the you don't get all the pieces. So let's say I go once and I pay however much this is. Let's say it's $109 for this thing. I imagine it's going to cost more than $109 for this. Hasn't been confirmed, but I imagine it's going to cost more. Just because you get so many pieces and it's customizable, and the crystals, which are sold separately in another store, I imagine it's going to be somewhere around $140, $130, $129, something like that. It's just what the wheels in my head are telling me. About $129 is my guess. We won't know till May 31st, hopefully sooner. But you don't even get to keep all of the pieces that are in that tray. That's the part that's like, oh my goodness. So if I want to get all of the power and control pieces, I likely have to come back 2 or 3 times just for power and control. If I want the peace and justice pieces, the ones that are like more like Jedi, traditional Jedi, I have to come back 2 or 3 times to build 2 or 3 lightsabers, times $100+, I'm guessing. It's just going to be expensive. If you want to own all the pieces, it's going to be very expensive, which means these things, I doubt that many people are going to do that, and I doubt I'm even going to be able to afford to do that, unless something crazy happens on the channel and I blow up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go do all of them, which would be wonderful. Share this with your friends. But it's going to be very expensive to do this. The original Build Your Own Lightsaber Station over in Tomorrowland is still going to be there. In Disney World, it's in a couple different spots. From what they've said, it's going to stay there. Nothing's changing with the original one, the cheaper option, which now is, I think, about $27 or $29. It's kind of expensive. It's gone up over the years. It used to be $20. But in that, you could pick whatever pieces you want. This one, you choose. What kind of Jedi are you going to be? Or what kind of force wielder. What kind of force wielder are you going to be? And what you choose determines what pieces show up in this tray. Now let's take a look real quick at the power and control. This is another example of the power and control lightsaber. Using those same pieces we saw on that tray, this is an example of more of a Sith-style lightsaber. See, there's a lot of reds in there. It's got these kind of like sharper angles to it. And notice there's that little coin right there underneath the stand for it. And it almost looks like a hand or something. Like, I don't know why to me it looks like a hand doing this. So who knows? But in the bottom right corner, there's a picture of it's more the nature one, which is the elemental nature. That's not part of this. On their table, they had basically the power and control. You can see all the pieces, and then they have the one that's built. In the display next up, they had the peace and justice lightsabers. Take a look at these. These are very much, I mean, they remind me of like Mace Windu style a little bit, a little more Obi-Wan style, a lot of black, a lot of silver. And the other one had black and silver too, but something about the style is it's a little bit smoother. Notice the way the button is, it's very square. And I don't know if the button's the same on all of them. We'll kind of see as we go through these. And so if you look at the emblem, look at that circle emblem underneath the stands there. That looks almost like Luke's lightsaber. It looks very similar to Return of the Jedi, Luke's lightsaber. So that's kind of an interesting move. Next up, let's take a look at the elemental nature. Elemental nature. So this I love. This is probably what I'm going to build first. If they ask me what to pick, I'm going to say I want elemental nature. Kind of hard to see what the coin is, but let's look at the lightsabers. I think that is a Rancor tooth. That looks like a Rancor tooth. Or a Bantha tooth or something. But when they're talking about elemental nature, that is the coolest. And if you look, this is the part that worries me when people said it was metal. The reason I don't believe it is if we look close at this picture, that tooth doesn't look, I mean, obviously the tooth wouldn't be metal. It'd be some kind of plastic or maybe resin or something like that. But if we look at the rest of this particular hilt, it looks like there's wood grain, but it looks like it's plastic wood grain. As we go up further, it looks like there's leather, very natural, leather wrapping on the top there towards the emitter. And again, that leather wrapping, it looks plastic. You wouldn't make that out of metal. That would be like a molded plastic. If we look at the other lightsaber, you can see the same thing. It looks like there's a kind of horn grain, like an antler grain on the bottom there. That one has a D-ring, just something to notice. It has a D-ring. Some have the Convertech, like little circle thing. Let me show you what that looks like. See this lightsaber right here? I keep one on me. There's this little black nubbin right here, and that actually slides into a belt clip, which we'll look at later. But some of them have the D-ring at the bottom, and you can also use that with a belt clip. But I like the little filigree, the little spirals that they've got on this one, and then there's more wood, and it definitely looks like leather binding wrapping around that, which is a really cool touch. And last we have, what is this? The protection and defense lightsabers. Now these have a gritty, like look at the texture on those things. They've got a really, really gritty look. And again, these are just some examples of what you could make. You don't have to make exactly those. You can mix and match your pieces. And I really do like the style. And again, those have the Convertech, that little circle that I mentioned just a second ago. And I just wonder if they light up as bright as these do. This is not a mag light. This is a, I don't know, some lightsaber I got about a year ago, Saber Forged, one of those. I forget what it is, to be honest. But notice there's some weird characters here on the more silver lightsaber. That what they said is it's not they don't know the language. We don't know much about where these protection and defense came from. Let's take a closer look at that lightsaber. There it is. And you can see the emblem, too. You can see the little emblem that they use. It looks like, you know what it looks like? There's like a star. It almost looks like the old Star Wars poster where Luke's holding up the lightsaber above his head and it's got that star to it. That is very much what that looks like. So I wonder if these are more ancient style. These are a little bit more like old school, before the Republic, like Knights of the Old Republic style lightsabers. And if so, I think that's really cool. So guys, that's a look at just some of the options. So they bring you your tray, you start to customize it, and then you power. I think everybody powers it on at once in this dark room, and it's just like this big it's a show. The whole thing is like a 15-minute presentation and show. So they might rush you if you take too long trying to do it. That's one thing to keep in mind. I don't know. You can't just sit there forever, which is interesting. Like the lightsaber station, you can stay there and try out whatever you want. But at this experience, you're going to be kind of pressed for time, I think, which is just something to keep in mind. I did also hear in an interview that Yoda, actually, I think it was during the celebration presentation of Galaxy's Edge, they mentioned that they use Frank Oz, Frank Oz voiced new voice recordings of Yoda as a Force ghost. And I believe this would be the only appropriate place for that to take place. Like, if you did this experience, then you would probably be visited or something. From what I heard in one of the interviews is that you will be visited by something. They said it was a very special interaction. So that's cool. I love that. I think we're going to hear from either probably it might be different every time, which gives you more reason to come back. But maybe you're visited by Yoda, maybe you're visited by Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon. Oh, that'd be so cool. But I think you're visited by a Force ghost, and then your experience ends, and they probably send you off into the rest of the shop where you can buy more stuff. Including, this is the lightsaber belt clip. Now, it holds the little Convertech circle thing, but it also has a clamp at the bottom for the D-ring. Here you go. You can see one of the workers there wearing the D-ring. So you have options here. You can wear it however you want. It clips right onto your belt. It's kind of cool to have these accessories. Next up, I mentioned this earlier, the Holocrons. So not in Savi's workshop, but in Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, which is another store, another spot. You can buy these Holocrons. Now, they didn't give pricing again for any of this stuff. So I'm imagining, my guess for this toy Holocron is between $40 and $60. If it's more than $60, I think it's too much. But they have Sith and they have Jedi. And notice, it was once blue, but she put a crystal in there, turned the color. So the one we're looking at on screen right now is green. And when you put them in there and hit the little circle button, it'll actually give you Jedi wisdom. So there's different, you'll hear from Obi-Wan. So if you have blue crystal, you'll hear from Obi-Wan. Or you might hear from young Anakin, depending on what crystal you have. So back to the crystals. Each one of those crystals, if it's green, maybe you'll hear from Luke. Or maybe you'll hear from Yoda. So, depending on what... So, this is the thing. The crystals are sold, unless you do the experience, the lightsaber experience. The crystals themselves are sold as kind of blind bags. I think you can pick what color, but you don't know what Jedi you're going to get, which could mean there could be duplicates, which I don't like. My guess on the crystals is they're going to be somewhere between $9 and $15. Again, that's a guess. I don't know for sure. Just... I know that I buy a lot of toys. I buy a lot of stuff from Disney parks. So my guess on pricing is it's like playing The Price is Right, but with Disney stuff. And I just have a feeling it's going to be probably somewhere like $12.95 per crystal. That's my guess. That is just my estimate. Which means this is going to get very expensive. Very, very expensive. Which is going to be the overall theme of Galaxy's Edge, I think. As if it wasn't already bad enough how much Disney parks cost now. Anyways, but... So this little, you turn the thing, and I like that the Holocron, because I have a couple of these Holocrons. If you look up Jedi Holocron here on YouTube, you can find that I did reviews of the Uncle Milton's 20 Questions Sith Holocron and the Jedi Holocron. Both of them, they're like little games you can play. But I like that these are more functional, and they moved, the little corners moved there like they did on Star Wars Rebels. Next up, there it is. There's the Sith one. You can see it, the little triangles on the ends move. Similar deal. Those ones will take Sith crystals. But what the demo people kept saying in a lot of videos I watched was that if you mix and match, if you put a Jedi crystal or a light side crystal, say a light side crystal, into the dark side Holocron, it won't like it and it'll let you know. And vice versa. If you put a red one into the blue Holocron, it'll let you know. So I don't know what that means. They wouldn't really elaborate, but it sounds really interesting. And last, let's take one last look at the Legacy lightsabers. Again, those are the cool gray packages that they come in. And there's the tray with all the different pieces from Savi's workshop of hand-built lightsabers. And again, there's another case. If you look, there's the black case with that star kind of logo and the lightsaber on it. That's another case to hold your blade. So they've thought of some really cool things so you can be walking around carrying this stuff. I am so excited for the, like, of all of Galaxy's Edge. I know we're going to get the Millennium Falcon ride. I know we're going to get Rise of the Resistance later in the year. There's also the build your own. There's the Droid Factory, which I could probably do another video on, just the Droid Factory merch. But guys, there's a lot to unpack here. This is really cool stuff. I'm super excited. What I want to know from you though, what would you pick? What kind of lightsaber pieces are you gonna pick? I want to know what color you would pick, and then I want to know, would you pick power and control like a Sith? Would you pick peace and justice like a Jedi? Would you pick elemental nature? That's what I'm going to pick. Or would you pick protection and defense, which are like ancient lightsabers? Leave it down in the comments below. I want to know your thoughts. I'll be kind of going back and forth and talking to you guys down there. Like I say, always, make sure you subscribe, like, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Until next time, may the Force have with you. And goodbye forever. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. There's a ton of channels here on YouTube, but you chose to watch mine, and I appreciate that. If you want to watch more, click one of the videos on the side. I've got playlists, plenty of new Star Wars stuff, Disney parks, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, all the toys you could think of. You name it, we got it here at the Dano channel. Love ya. Till next time.
May the Force have with you. Good. Bye. Forever.